to your Geoscope. So this is going to be your forecast for the upcoming solar eclipse in Cancer, which happens on the 21st of June 2020, of course, depending on where you are in the world. So this eclipse is quite important. It happens the day after the sun ingresses into Cancer, in other words, the solstice. And it's really kind of a gateway that leads us towards the final set of eclipses that are going to happen in November, December, and the start of what is considered to be the kind of the sort of the true blooming of the Aquarian age, which is of course your sign. So this is really important. So you could see this next 6-month cycle, which begins at the solstice, as being really kind of key preparation, laying the groundwork, if you like, for what is to come. So with that in mind, let's get into your reading. So just to say that I am going to be doing some video horoscopes for the all 12 signs also for this eclipse. So if that's something that you're interested in, you might find it as a useful supplement to this reading. Just go to my website and sign up for my newsletter. All the details are below in the description box. What I find with geomancy is that it gives us more information, really. It helps us to drill down into the 3D manifestations of the cosmic energy. So it's kind of the below to astrology's above. You know, when we have transits of planets and so on, we get potentialities, but we're not always exactly sure how something is going to manifest. And I think geomancy, because of its connection to the 4 elements and therefore the physical world, just helps us to get a little bit more clear, to put flesh on the bones, as it were. Right, I think that's shuffled quite well. Let's cut the cards. Right. Wow, so yes, you are very focused on gain. So this is about success, it's about victory. So it's possible that you are feeling quite competitive, or that you are entering a race of some kind. You know, this could be an election. It could be that you're putting something into tender, or it could simply be that you feel like you want to be a winner in life. Right, interesting. So quite dynamic energy here as well. This is fire energy. We've got Jupiter in Sagittarius, and now we've got more fire energy in the form of Mars in Aries. So this is your 4th house. So this is the foundation of your chart, and it's very often to do with your roots, for your family, where you live, your home, as well as the people that you live with, your sort of immediate domestic environment, as well as your legacies, in the sense of what you inherit from your family or your bloodlines or your ancestors. So this could be talents, skills and gifts, or it could be you know, kind of genetic predispositions that kind of hamper your progress. But when I see Mars in Aries here, this is very dynamic energy. It's almost sort of like the Emperor in the tarot, or you know, like the King of Wands. This is really about going for it. It's about being quite assertive, focused, knowing what you want. So this is a really exciting foundation. I think you're kind of feeling like you're ready to go for it. And so it would seem, you know, we've got Via here, which is all about journeys and traveling. And this is your 7th house, so this is to do with partnerships. These can be financial or kind of business partnerships, as well as marriage partners or committed partnerships. So this is one-to-one relationships that are significant, and usually there's a level of commitment. It could be a contract, for example, such as a business relationship. It could be a marriage contract. So there's some kind of, you know, so when 2 people kind of make promises to each other, a long-term kind of committed relationship. So perhaps you are keen perhaps you've been at home and now you're keen to sort of like get up and travel and you want to go and see somebody. So it could be that you have your eye on somebody who is at a distance from you, and maybe because you've been unable to travel, you know, you haven't been able to sort of see them face to face, but certainly, you know, you are champing at the bit to move from where you are currently based, to sort of move forward and you know, kind of head off. So this could also be that you've met somebody and you want to sort of like continue your life's journey with them. That's another way that this could you know, kind of play out. It is the moon in Cancer, and that is where the moon will be at the solar eclipse. This is a solar eclipse where the sun and the moon will be together in the sign of Cancer. So, you know, it's also possibly indicating that you're kind of starting out on a new journey when it comes to marriage or to a partnership of some kind. Wow, so definitely coming together. So here we've got conjuncture, which is about marriage or a union of opposites, or kind of achieving balance between two polarities. So, you know, red in conjunction with this card, it would seem as though your kind of goal right now, your sort of purpose in life, your main future sort of desire, is to come together. So it could be that, you know, coming together with somebody. Maybe you're keen to get married, maybe you want to pop the question, or you just simply want to get, you know, all elements of your life together, working in harmony with each other. That could also be, you know, where you're at. But I'm just going to pause the video quickly while I do the rest of your conversions, and I'll be back with you shortly. Hi Aquarius, so welcome back to reading. As you can see, I have now done all the conversions and put the geomantic figures into their particular houses. So let's continue with the reading. So this particular Sun Moon conjunction that makes up the Cancer eclipse is going to happen in your 6th house. So this is your house of work, as well as the house of pets and everyday rituals. So it can be to do with your schedule, but it's also the place of, you know, kind of work colleagues and your everyday work environment. So it can be your office. Of course, some people work from home, in which case, you know, it will still be, you know, your home office, your home environment, your whole kind of routine. So there's likely to be a shake-up in this area, and I kind of feel as though, you know, it's not necessary. It's what's required in order to sort of prepare you into this energy that you're kind of looking for, which is also, funnily enough, the outcome of your reading. So it does suggest to me that as a result of this, by the end of the 6-month cycle, you will be able to achieve what it is that you're setting out to achieve, which is gain, success, a feeling of abundance. But I think that you're going to have to make a few adjustments in order to get there, and you're going to have to work around a few obstacles. So having Kase here is normally about limitations or restrictions. So, you know, it's possible that some of the restrictions that you are experiencing relate to your current everyday circumstances, the sort of fabric of your life, and that could be because of something like lockdown. So it could be that you're working from home, and that really for your business to take off you need to be able to travel. And the reason that I say that is because we've got Kase repeated in your 9th house. Now the 9th house can be the house of foreign travel or foreign connections. It can also be the house of publishing, the law, as well as higher education. And of course, you know, there's some things that we can do from home. You know, we can to an extent teach via Zoom or whatever the case may be, but ultimately, you know, some deals can't really be done, or some work can't be completed unless you're sort of able to physically travel. So that may be why we're also getting quite a lot of fear, you know, happening here. It could also be that you're restricted in terms of being able to work from home because of children. So that could be, you know, it's possible that you're not set up, you're not geared to work properly from home. Maybe you don't have a fully equipped home office, for example, and so the whole kind of lockdown thing came as, you know, kind of caught you on the back foot, and so you're having to sort of work around those kind of restrictions. The other thing that could be hampering your ability to expand is if, for example, you've got pets at home and you don't want to leave them on their own, so having to make other arrangements, you know, if in the event that you are able to travel, maybe having to get a dog walker in, or a pet sitter, or something of that ilk. But there's definitely restrictions when it comes to your everyday routine or schedule. So that needs to be looked at over the next 6 months. You need to see how you can sort of work around these limitations. It could also be just that you don't have enough hours in the day. That whatever it is that you want to do to succeed needs you to put in a lot of extra work, which means possibly having to forego domestic duties or everyday chores that maybe you're having to sort of fit in around your work schedule, and perhaps you need to sort of get in somebody like a housekeeper or something who can do those for you. That's something else to consider here. But I definitely see that the restrictions are likely to have something to do with either legal restrictions or to do with foreign travel. Those are the two sort of main areas that I'm seeing blocks. So the eclipse is really going to highlight to you what these are, I think. So pay attention to what has got a charge emotionally at the time of this particular new moon, because that will give you an indication of what it is that needs to shift in order for you to sort of come into this more abundant energy, what you need to work around in your everyday or your work environment. It could also be a colleague or a boss that is particularly unhelpful, somebody that blocks you from succeeding, that doesn't want you to succeed. Maybe they feel a bit threatened. It could be a colleague that always sort of like throws up obstacles or tries to sabotage you. So that's something else to think about. Because we do have Rubeus here. Rubeus can sometimes be somebody that's a little bit conniving or plotting, someone that can plot behind the scenes, or that can be a bit manipulative. Could be a bit of backstabbing going on. So just something to be aware of. And then as far as karmic cycles are concerned, we do have an indication that you are ending a karmic cycle when it comes to friends, groups, and social networks. So it could be that you're ending your membership of a particular political party, society, group, club. On some level you're kind of walking away from that. But it may not necessarily be an overnight thing. But just something to be aware of over the next 6 months. And I think if it'll probably become very clear when we get to the lunar eclipse in Capricorn, because that is the twin to this solar eclipse, and it obviously often gives us an indication, because it's a full moon, of what needs to be released. So maybe wait until then for more clarity if you're not sure about what I'm talking about. But then going back to your career and your sort of future goals and aims, it's interesting that we've got this mirroring of the same geomantic figure in your second house. Now this is the house of earned income. It's also the house of skills and abilities, as well as resources, in the sort of more in the area of work and what enables you to earn money. So perhaps on some level you need to kind of get your shit together when it comes to skills and resources, because this is what is required. You need to combine all your skills and talents in order to sort of have everything come together, have your plans come together, and to sort of work out in order to manifest this success and this abundance. It could also be that you need to have more faith in yourself, have more confidence, because this is also the house of self-worth. So it's possible that it's kind of saying that if you get this right, that it will be reflected in the outside world in terms of the way people view you from a professional standpoint. That's something else to consider. I am kind of getting through this message, and this may be for just a small handful of you, even, maybe even just one person in particular, but it could be that you're walking away from a political party, and that you're choosing to you're finding it too restrictive, being a member of this particular association, and so you're kind of walking away from it and perhaps joining forces with an independent candidate, or kind of joining with another party in order to sort of move forward and run for office, because as I say, this can be about competitions such as an election, for example. So that may be relevant to some Aquarians out there. But there is good fortune to be had. I mean, if we look at the 8th house, this is Fortuna Major, so this is good. This is good luck, basically. This is fortune smiling on you. This is things flowing naturally without too much effort. And the 8th house is about it's combining forces, so very often it's joint ventures. So again, it's sort of highlighting this seventh house connection, and the idea of conjunctio, so of coming together. So it may be with one other person, but working together with others does look as though it is a good way to go. It will certainly help to get you where you want to go. So just bear that in mind. And then in terms of the outcome of your reading, we've got Tristia and Rubeus, kind of sitting here now. Tristia is really about, it can be sorrow, grief, or loss. It can also be sort of having to accept that something's not going to work out. And, it might be something that you kind of upset about, but it's kind of inevitable. And it may be that, what it is realizing that somebody is not really on your side, that perhaps somebody that you thought was a close friend or associate is actually either sabotaging you, jealous of you, backstabbing, or in some way kind of blocking your path forward. So that's one way that this energy could work. But there's definitely a sense here of loss or grief, as well as a sense of passion. And this can be obsessive energy, so it can also have to do with maybe being a workaholic, that you need to sort of balance your time, the hours of the day a bit more sensibly, and maybe that requires asking for help. That's another way that this energy can work. But ultimately the outcome is really, really positive. So this is Jupiter in Sagittarius. This is fire energy. It's expansive energy. It is it's very optimistic, and it usually represents receiving. So it's kind of almost reaping the benefits of past work or past karma. That's a good way to look at it. But I'm just going to read you the keywords so that you've got an idea of what it could mean for you in your particular circumstances. So material success, profit, riches, gain, attainable goals, expansion and absorption. So it's diurnal, it's to do with fire, and it is Martian. No, this can't be right. It's Jupiter energy. So this is choleric energy. So it's very enthusiastic. So I kind of feel as though whoever is causing you sadness or kind of upset, it really needs to go. You really need to kind of let this dynamic go. It may not be particularly healthy. It might be a bit of a toxic connection. So just, have a think about it. See what gets highlighted at the full moon in Capricorn. Have a think back as well over the last 18 months or so, because we've had a series of eclipses in the same set of signs as Cancer, Capricorn, since, at least kind of 2018 onwards. So think back, see what, whether there's certain themes that keep repeating, and then, let that guide you. But anyway, I hope this has been helpful. As I say, I am going to be doing a forecast for each of the zodiac signs for the astrological sort of aspects of this eclipse. So if that interests you, then do go and subscribe to my website. Otherwise, you can find me on Instagram, where I do a cosmic weather forecast for the collective. So that's something else to think about. But I'm wishing you all the best for this upcoming solstice. It looks really positive, Aquarius, and I'll catch you again in a couple of weeks.